Hi, I'm montze.t, and today I'm going to discuss on why I do fear death. So, how does fear manifest itself in my daily life? I would say on a day-to-day basis, I tend to overthink on the different aspects I can die, that being from a heart attack or a car accident. Uh, Being someone who has anxiety, I feel like it affects a lot within how I react to my days and like overthink certain aspects, like for example like walking on campus and being hit by a car. Like I think about it, so like sometimes I take the bus to prevent that, but I can't really prevent it, so I feel like it makes me just overthink. um and so those are some choices that I make as a result of the fear of dying. uh that being said, how do I combat this fear? I tend to remind myself that, I am gonna die no matter what I do, that death is inevitable, and at the end of the day, I live to die, not die to live. And so, one of the things within our course media that goes back into why I feel this way is going to be the 4 stories we tell about ourselves about death by Stephen Cave. So I personally tend to believe within the theory that I live with the soul and legacy. So I believe that my soul will be not done for once I die, but there's a certain life or area where I will go. Like my body will be dead, like I will rot, I will decay, but my mental capacity, I guess, or like what makes me me is gonna have another life. And I live with certain like questioning if that is real. So I also live with the theory of legacy, that I'm living to make a name out of myself. That being said, within my career, I want to be a heart surgeon, so I hope to do the best work I can. So in 5 to 10 years after my death, my name is still recognized as someone who was good within their career path, and legacy within my children, be a good mother, a good family member. So in years past my death, I'm still remembered and worthy of being talked about. Um, and another thing that kind of infiltrates within the combat of that fear is The Denial of Death and the Practice of Dying by Glenn Hughes. Uh, I identify with being Catholic, and that protects myself from the truth of mortality. Within the religion, I believe that, yes, I will die, but I believe that there is a heaven, and that's kind of what protects that anxiety that, yeah, I will die, but there's something to come after. And even though I do fear death, I kind of do create that safe space. And do I fear anything more than death, like terrorism, serial killers, or dropping dead? Yeah, I do. I have like a reoccurring fear that I'll be shot. I feel like that's one of my biggest fears, like dying of like unpredicted dying. Like if I want to die, like my dream way of dying would be dying of sickness, because I would know it's coming. Other than 2 days from now, I'm walking down the street and somebody shoots me. Like I want my death to be quote unquote predicted or known before I do enter that perspective. And like we discussed in lecture, my core beliefs and blind spots, that goes beyond why I do fear that. Like, I'm Catholic, but my blind spots would be heaven, and uh, what it is, what exactly is heaven. Like, to me, heaven is like an afterlife, but being more logistic, I don't know what heaven is. I don't know who's gonna be in heaven, why, like, will Hitler be in heaven, and if so, why or why not. And I feel like that's what also produces the fear of death within myself, is the unknowing, not knowing what will or won't happen. And that's kind of why, from lecture from August 23rd, the creation of framing, I believe in God, but why am I scared? If I believe in a religion, you would think that that protects my ideology of death and creates like a safe space to where I would be okay with dying. But it's kind of funny because I do believe in God, but I don't believe in what is gonna happen. And that's kind of what leads on within that same lecture where we discuss and why do I believe in something that I can't see. And I feel like the reason that I believe in something I can't see is due to the fact that I have death anxiety, as Becker discussed. I choose to believe in a religion as a foundation of avoiding the topic of death, because I feel like if I focus too much on it, I will end up terrorizing my own life and like causing myself to overthink every single decision. So, that being said, my religious and philosophical, social, and scientific idea that's influenced my view of death goes between religion being Catholic, but my philosophical viewpoint is like, well, if I can't see it, is it really real? My social aspect would be who and why would be in heaven, and my scientific idea would be it's not proven that there is an afterlife. For all we know, scientifically, is the human brain stops working, our body stops working, and that's it. Your body decays, but there's no scientific explanation to where your soul or mind goes. And I think that's what scares me. I'm scared of before death, like going before death, during death, like the actions of feeling pain and the time lapse of going from alive to dead, and where my mind ends up going after death. So overall, the entire reality and format of death is what I'm scared of. And when looking into my interviews between Sarah and Vero, they contrast each other within Sarah believing in more of a spiritual than religious aspect, whereas Veronica is more Jewish and kind of infiltrates within the same reasoning I have. Even though we're not the same religious, we kind of stand on the same viewpoints, as in we fear because we don't know it. And Sarah lives a little bit less of a fearful life because the outcomes of what could happen don't really affect her life, as in compared to me and Veronica. We overthink into our decisions, how we treat people, and what we do, and Sarah tends to live a life of just love and appreciation until what's yet to come. And so I think when viewing those viewpoints, it's really critical to understand why death affects people and how we live. And I would say that death affects my way of life, as in trying to be the best person I can be. And my religious aspect would be to let go and let God. And that being said, I try my best as I can as a human, but I do recognize that tomorrow is not promised, and I am scared that tomorrow is not promised. So, thank you.